Today's spotlight for Black History Month is on the fastest woman of all time, Florence Griffith Joyner, also known as Flo Jo. Flo Jo was born in 1959 in Los Angeles, California. One of 11 siblings, there was always someone to play with. She said, "I was always doing something physical. My brothers and I used to do handstand contests. We'd walk around the projects on our hands to see who could get the farthest. I was always playing football with them, basketball, or racing in the street. And racing was her favorite." While she was still in elementary school at age 7, she joined the Sugar Ray Robinson organization, and she was able to run in track meets on the weekends. She ran every chance she could. She won the Jesse Owens National Youth Games 2 years in a row when she was 14 and 15. And when she got to high school, she joined the track team. While in high school, she set records for sprinting and long jump. After high school, she wanted to go to college at California State University, Northridge, so that she could continue to run track. She won a national championship her first year, but unfortunately, her family was kind of going through some rough times, so she felt like she had no choice. She dropped out of college to become a bank teller. Her coach found out what happened, and he said absolutely not, and that talent like her should not be wasted, and so he did whatever he had to do to find her financial aid package so that she could continue going to school. In 1980, she qualified for the Olympic trials for the first time. However, they were held in Moscow in the Soviet Union, and the U.S. had already decided to boycott those games, so it didn't really matter so much for her. It was devastating to her as an athlete because she wanted to be an Olympian, but she did return to California, and she went to UCLA to get her bachelor's degree in psychology. She continued to run track, and in 1983, she finished 4th in the 200-meter sprint at the World Championship in Athletics in Helsinki. In 1984, she qualified for the Olympics that were held in Los Angeles. And in her first Olympic showing, she won a silver medal for the women's 200-meter. After that, she kind of took a break from running. She still continued to run part-time, but she wanted to kind of figure out something else that she could do outside of athletics. She was always super fashionable, and she was well known for her beautiful hair that was styled very differently than the athletes around her, her gorgeous nails, and her very fun and funky outfits that she wore while she was running. And so she tried to do some styling and some nails in her spare time, but she couldn't stay away because she just loved to run. She returned to athletics in 1987. That year, she participated in the World Championships in Rome and got second place once again in the 200-meter sprint. She became someone to watch once again. Before the 1988 Olympics, she continued to work with her old coach back from college 2 days a week and was also coached by her husband, a former Olympian himself, 3 days a week. So she was training almost every single day during the week. The 1988 Olympic Games were held in Seoul, South Korea. And in the very first race of the quarterfinals, she broke a world record, one that still stands over 30 years later. She ran the 100-meter sprint in 10.49 seconds. This has caused a little bit of controversy because there was a wind gauge that could have been malfunctioning. However, the Association of Track and Field Statisticians has continued to let the record stand. Even if it was invalidated, her speed of 10.61 seconds the following day in the finals would be the fastest time, so she'd still have that world record. But on top of that, she also set a world record for the 200-meter sprint. Her record of 21.34 seconds stands the test of time. It has yet to be broken. So she holds the record for the 100-meter sprint and 200-meter sprint, both in the same Olympic Games. She also ran the 4x100-meter relay, and her team won that as well. In total, she won 1 silver medal and 3 gold medals at that Olympic Games. Unfortunately, her unbelievable speed was something that people wanted to credit substances for being able to achieve, and not just her and her hard work. Flo Jo said, "I don't do drugs. I never have taken any drugs. I don't believe in them." During the games, she was repeatedly drug tested during the competition and passed every single test. The World Anti-Doping Agency even said, "We performed all possible and imaginable analysis on her, and we never found anything. There should not be the slightest bit of suspicion." But some of her former teammates who were jealous of her success alleged that they saw her doing them. This was never proven. It could not be substantiated. And thankfully, those folks ran out of favor with the athletic community. But it did make her think maybe it's time to take a step back from running and focus on building herself as a business and as a brand. After the Olympic Games, she was making millions of dollars in brand deals, and she wanted to kind of parlay that into building herself up. She was always really fond of fashion. Like, she always stood out with really long nails and bright colors. She liked to make her own uniforms, and she would make them fun colors and fun designs and things like that. So she always liked to stand out. And in 1989, she designed the basketball uniforms for the Indiana Pacers. Since she was so passionate about being physical fit, she served as the co-chair for the President's Council on Physical Fitness between 1993 and 1998. Even though she was retired, in 1996, she decided that she was going to give the Olympics one last go because she already had the world record for the 100-meter and 200-meter sprints, and she had her eye set on the 400-meter sprint. Unfortunately, she had an injury right before the trials, and so she was not able to compete, but she still holds her 2 world records to this day. Unfortunately, due to a birth defect, Flo Jo passed away very young at the age of 38 in 1998. Her legacy continues, though. USA Track and Field inducted her into its Hall of Fame in 1995. She's a member of the U.S. and Paralympic Hall of Fame, and in 2020, Time magazine announced her as one of the most influential women of the past century. She said, "When anyone tells me I can't do anything, I'm just not listening anymore." She never gave up, and she never stopped believing in herself.